Hi, this is Alex, co-founder and CEO of the UMH, and today we're here with another special episode of the Connected Factory podcast. Today is all about AI. Oh, just kidding. So today is Heiko with me. He's co-founder and CTO of Anticipate, actually a startup that we have a lot in common, specifically on the historic side. And he will try to guide us a little bit to the fog and also on the origins of AI, classical machine learning. Stay tuned. Heiko, pleasure that you're here. First time in your office. Yeah?
Thanks for inviting. Pleasure to be here.
It's actually not that far. You're in Aachen, yeah? So actually there we also come from. Can you give the podcast listeners a bit about our feedback? What is the history of your match and Anticipate?
Sure. I mean, both of us studied at RWTH Aachen University. And I think most of us started working as working students or with internships at the Digital Capability Center. It was basically a joint venture of McKinsey and the RWTH Aachen University. And anyhow, this involved into founding two different startups, right? So one is the UMH and the other one is Anticipate.
You actually back then, there was AI already like a topic, yeah? Back then, more to the lenses of classical machine learning and read more like on the data level. Can you elaborate or put into context what Anticipate does with AI, what patterns of AI are there?
Yeah, so we are basically focusing on computer vision. So using images to analyze, for example, the quality of products. And if you take a look into camera technology, there's already 20 years we already have camera technology and traditional image processing. But in the last, let's say, 5 to 6, 7 years, AI has also come into the area of image processing. And that's where we are focusing on. And once we started Anticipate, I would say, based on the Gartner hype cycle, AI and computer vision was more or less at the peak. And now we are already into a more productive area of computer vision and AI-based computer vision.
But fundamentally, AI was then, I would say, not on the peak of AI hype. If you collapse it into the larger category, where does computer vision play into? So machine learning specifically, and now against this whole agentic AI, large language models, where are we positioned in there? So where are you positioned?
Yeah, I mean, we are more in the deep learning space, so very on convolutional neural networks. So it's a slightly different technology approach than LLMs. And I think that's where also AI started quite early on visual understanding. And I would say it's also easier because the complexity is a bit less than voice understanding, text understanding, and really combining single words into sentences and have a global context.
Yeah. And for so I'm also obviously not an AI expert, but for me, it was always understanding patterns in stuff where normal people don't see patterns. Could be inside, large language training sets, where you then see what are the patterns. But in your AI case, it's more about understanding inside visual elements, which features are there, right? And this are you using for quality inspection specifically.
Exactly. So basically, it's patterns which are visible also to humans. So it's a bit different than other AI technologies which can also find patterns which are not easily visible for humans. So usually we have a common understanding. So if we apply computer vision to a use case, usually we can quite easy already say upfront if this would work or not, because everything what is inspectable by a human could also be done by an AI.
But so really nice, because this hype wave is full kicking in, and I think there's a lot of good things to come. I think a lot of things need to happen there, but this is where currently AI produces actually quantifiable value. Yeah. So I think there are also other non-visual inspection properties where you could use this. Process analytics, where you then take process charge and then put them into visual aspects to then analyze. But I think this is really, really, really interesting. And what's your take about AI in manufacturing right now? What current state is it? Is it already over the top tail of illusion is already there, or where are we?
It really depends on the application area. So I would say computer vision is basically already in quite a productive environment in the manufacturing industry. A lot of companies are used to using cameras for optical inspections, though they still use traditional image processing, but they will transform into using AI-based technologies because they just perform better might be faster, they might be more resilient. If we take a look into other perspectives or other use cases like predictive maintenance, LLMs, AI agents, I think we might be more at the peak of starting to using it. But I think there will be a lot of learnings companies needs to have. There will also be a lot of disappointment, I think. But I think then after some time, let's say in 2 or 3 years, there will be a lot of productive use cases.
So, and what are the limitations of classical visual inspection? So there are like a lot of players like the Cognex, for example, which you can then just go onto the camera, see patterns, and then say this camera to then, if this part is bent, please sort out. And what are the like shortcomings / the benefits of AI that you currently do and see there?
Yeah, so basically we have both technologies which are relevant. So for very easy inspections where you have clear patterns of the product, low variability in the environment, in the product itself, a low volume of different variants, traditional image processing is much easier and much faster to apply and has also less complexity. On the other side, if you think about products will evolve into more customization, and the product size or the volume of the product might also go lower. I think it might be hard to define those patterns for every product you have. And here AI will come into game. So we will be able to deal with a lot more complexity with higher variance in the background. For example, lighting is the typical pitfall of traditional processing systems, because usually if the lighting change, the system does not work anymore.
Yeah.
But for the AI, it doesn't matter. It can be trained to learn that this is not a relevant feature.
So like getting more into the meta information level and then being able to cope with more variance inside the image that actually comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super interesting. But you're obviously integrating into like a legacy tech stack. Perhaps this is also where UMH then comes in. I think you are mostly a part of a larger system of systems, might be like a production line, might be a quality inspection area. Is this easy to integrate into those, or what's your take on that? And what are the risks also doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we are in I would say, similar field at the end. So also quite shop floor close. So you're implementing technologies close to old machines, and we have similar experience, I would say. It's not easy. Usually it's hard because if you work with, let's say, older or bigger companies, usually they have machines which are 20, 30 years old and which they are still using and still want to use. And the protocols are just old, hard to implement. We sometimes deal with analog outputs and inputs, and we might need to communicate, but not I/O or NIO. We really have a lot of different information we want to share. And there are a lot of hurdles and barriers we need to overcome. For sure, we also have some companies which already deal with new technologies like MQTT, REST APIs, or things like that, but it's not the standard.
Yeah. I think it's a good example of one of the applications that are like super powerful in a vertical space. You have this specific problem of quality inspection, but the results of that or the triggers for that are coming from other systems. So you might, like in maintenance or like in quality management system, would like to have the results of that. And might be that like a machine gives you the trigger to, for example, take a picture or whatever. So this is then unnecessary complexity, and then specifically also quite a tinkering issue. So you need to go into the machine and the hearts. And I think this is what we also see. It's what can overwhelm also machines. If there are like more and more solutions popping up, expecting the same information, then you start going into the machine PLC over and over again, and it can overwhelm them. So great that there are already companies out there using modern technologies like MQTT. So, but this is also where we originally like joined forces, like into a few customer deployments. But super, super interesting. And what do you think will be the ideal user looking forward? Because if I understand, normally it would be an automation company taking care of that. They build the machines, they build the systems, but I'm 100% sure they're lacking the capabilities right now to do that. How do you think this will evolve? Will they get the capabilities, or will there always be specialized partners? Or
that's a really good question. I think there will be a combination of a few points. So on the one hand, we have the automation companies. I think they will need to get into the technologies, but on the other hand, they will also need to have tools which are easy to use. So we as a company, we develop software. So the software needs to be that easy that everyone without that big AI understanding or experience is able to use the software to implement such a system.
Yeah.
And that's something what is also our goal, that we achieve that it is as easy as possible for automation engineers, automation companies to implement technologies like that. And I would even go one step further. Our experience shows that a lot of companies also want to do it in-house, and they are building computer vision teams internally.
Yeah.
They have the capabilities of understanding how models work, how to build models, but then also based on the limited resources they have, they for sure need the best tooling they can get. They need to be really productive with the tooling. It needs to be easy to understand, flexible to implement. And at the end, it will be a combination of both easy software and a bit of experience they need to build up.
Yeah, also definitely the pattern that we see. I think the most powerful organizations are those who do it on their own, are not required on external help to get something like that up and running. But this is often also like a little bit of a trap, like new AI, new technology. I think every new freshly graduated engineer would love to do it like that and would love to build like a super specific tech stack and do everything on their own. Where do you see the shortcomings of those homegrown approaches? Like where are they are falling short? It one's expensive then over the long run doing it like that.
Yeah, I mean, due to the fact that a lot of, let's say, students and also
ridiculous amount of bachelor theses. It's like when we graduated, there was not that much, but now it's like crazy.
Everyone is doing it. And based on that, let's say I'm a hiring manager, I would also think they should be able to build a system like that in minutes. Yeah, with generative AI, it should be easy. And this will be really a trap, I think. So a lot of companies will think, okay, let's build it on our own. They will make their first experience, see that it's not be easy because you're dealing with hardware. You don't know what happens. You're dealing with big corporates. Yeah, there are a lot of things like disaster recovery strategies, everything you need to have in mind. So it's not that easy to build a system like that. So I think one of the problems will definitely be there are too many people who might promise you it's easy to build.
And also the long tail problems at AWS. We back then, or you implemented like that, it was then always you get quite fast to 80%. So your system works mostly. But then like lighting changes slightly, products vary a little bit more than expected. Like the north or southbound systems are behaving not 100% reliably. Then it gets harder to build. But I think every technology like that.
At the end, every technology is like that. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a good approach as a company to start building this know-how internally, to test, to get into it. I actually like customers who have this understanding already that it is not it's AI, it can do everything, right? It should be click and go. That's a common understanding sometimes in internal discussions or in discussions with customers we have. And then we need to do a lot of knowledge work. We need to really get the experience into the customer, explain what is possible, what is not possible, because at the end, AI can do a lot, but it's limited to what it has learned.
I think this is what fundamentally a good approach that we also see with the UNS space. It's mostly about show and tell. Ideally, to get it started, build something from scratch, either through thesis that you collaborate with a university as a big corporate, or build it in-house and then get budget for like a real deployment and a real productive deployment. But hopefully the organizations are able to get it up. One question that I already has is like when we like for the data layer, like talk to C-level executives, AI is at least on top of their mind, like one of the top 3 priorities, I would say. Do they know what they then mean? Or is it more like AI point? Or is it like AI is for knowledge workers to get them up to code? Is it AI for pattern recognition? Or what is your stack inside this? Or where are they currently when they talk about AI?
I mean, when they currently talk about AI, they usually are talking about generative AI. So this is not the focus of what we are doing. We are really on the shop floor on the computer vision level. Still, they also have these topics in mind because quality inspection or high quality, especially in the DACH region or in the German region, it is usually a standard and a USP. So that's why they do have it in mind. But I think there's a higher priority also on the generative AI than on the computer vision part. But still, I think computer vision is always part of the discussion. And I think also the C-levels have it in mind and they try to push it into the organization.
I think it's also really about educating what options are there and then using the momentum also internally. If you like an head of digitization, head of IT OT, then you should know the full palette of available options, what you could do here. And if so, we try to provide you clean data. So like having the ability to get into the shop floor systems and get your information up to the IT systems. Where do you anticipate over the next 2, 3, 4 years really evolve into?
Yeah. So what we are building up is like a very scalable system approach. So I think we have from the tech stack, we are quite similar at the end. We have a lot of things in common. And our goal is to really enable the customers to do a lot of the journey of implementing solutions by their own, setting up the hardware, doing the image acquisition, the labeling, doing the training of the models, doing the operations at the end and the maintenance by themselves. So we will definitely try to advance our product portfolio, try to also roll out for some customers and different factories that the customers has the chance to really use this technology by their own and in the speed they want to use it.
I think this fundamentally boils down to reducing the time to value / total cost of ownership for such a system, which is currently holding organizations back, specifically in the Mittelstand or the SME space, where they're like too money sensitive and it's just too expensive for them. And from like the scope of available options, are you currently like visual inspection, but are there others, pattern recognitions that will also be available and anticipate over the next years?
Yeah, I mean, we do also already implement and offer traditional image processing methods because we see a lot of potential there and a lot of use cases which can be solved with that. So yes, we do offer that already, and we might also advance in this area. Still, I think most of the use cases in the future will be solved with AI. Just based on the history, we already have traditional image processing for 20 years. There's a lot of things already implemented, and we also see a lot of systems getting updated with AI-based systems because they are just performing a bit better already.
And to give something to the audience a little bit, what they should do now, I think they are hooked on data. And if not, they would not be here. They are to some degree already hooked on AI. What would be the ideal project to start? So if you're now like an emerging engineer at an industrial company, what would you be advised for educating yourselves and getting something off the ground fast? What should they do?
First of all, find a suitable use case. Usually it's not that hard to identify. Best one is if you have any manual visual quality inspection, like a human performing the quality control. Usually the ROI of such a project is quite high because we can automate not only the inspection, we can also speed up the inspection and have way higher accuracy than the human can have. And once he identified this project, he should start acquiring some images, models somewhere in the internet. There are a lot of great open source tools. It will take, less than a week to get something up and running and have a first model which can then be presented to management. Hey, let's look at the results. We're even better already than a human. If we could acquire a bit more images, if we put a bit more effort into it, we can fully automate this quality inspection with AI.
So first identify in business case. I think that's always front and center. Then getting the sales educated with the open source tech stack that's available and then build something to show and tell.
Exactly. I mean, we are also seeing already a lot of companies using open source technology for labeling tools, for training, everything possible. You can combine it then with enterprise solutions for performing the real inspection at the end.
Nice. If I would be in this position, I would start something like that now. Actually, a real pleasure that you've been here, Heiko. We'll, I think, continue the discussion now offline, but for everybody who's interested in AI, definitely have a look at Anticipate. Highly recommend. It's not only the product, but I really trust the people behind it. They have years of experience, and therefore get to know Heiko, hook him up on LinkedIn or have a look at their platform. Thank you for being here. Definitely not the last time.
Thanks for inviting. Thanks, Alex, for the interview. It was a pleasure to talk about AI at United Manufacturing Hub as well. And what was a pleasure to be in the podcast.
Let's continue. Bye.